Is that? Ah, I figured out what the problem is. Turns out you got to turn the microphone on. So now you probably have audio, but it's probably really poor quality. Let me know if you disagree. I'm going to add some filters in. If I can remember what those settings were. Oh, let's just try this and see what it does. Okay, can you hear this, and how does this sound? Audio is good, says Patrick. Fantastic. Yeah, the first problem was really stupid. I just didn't turn the microphone on, so that had nothing to do with the computer. So what I started to say before, when you couldn't hear me, was that the computer is, well, I killed my computer. After the video I uploaded on Sunday, I decided that I was going to do an update to the operating system. And by no fault of the Linux operating system, I did something really stupid during the update, and I completely fried the system. And I spent a couple hours trying to fix that, and then I thought, well, I've got this other computer that I've been wanting to use anyway. It's got a better operating system on it. It's more modern, and so I got that set up. But I wanted to do a quick test here tonight and chat for a little bit and just see if I got it working. So let's see, Chris is saying there's lots of static, can hear a fan or something. Alright, well, if you guys don't mind hanging around, I'll play with the filters and see if I can make that go away. And I do really appreciate your input on this, because I've been going back and forth trying to record videos, and it just isn't working because it's not the same as okay. Bring this up to about there. Okay, you're probably getting more background now. Yeah, VidMaze, it was painful. I've had that computer for a long time, and it's been limping along for the past year or so because of the problems with the screen, but that wasn't what killed it. Ultimately, it was me. Jeff Lowry, good to see you, buddy. Had a great great holiday. Still has a slight rushing noise. Let me know if that's changed. It still sounds kind of static. Okay, Gordy, thank you. Let me see what I can do here. The problem is when I switched over to the new system, I was able to get my OBS settings to come over, but the filters didn't, and I have no way of accessing them on the old machine, so I'm just kind of guessing at what the filter settings were. Plus, this is a newer version of OBS. Okay, how's that? Now we got the furnace coming on, so this will be a good test, but hopefully some of the hissing is gone. Let me know if you can still hear hissing or if that's any better. Especially at times when I'm quiet. The hissing should be gone then. It's not. I can see the audio monitor still bouncing around here. Very strange. How's that? See if we... Okay. Still just doesn't want to... Okay, but now it's gonna... Oh, maybe that's better. Maybe that's better. Let's see how that goes. So did you guys all have a good Christmas? Quiet. Tasty one. I made a really good dinner last night, but my wife's coming back tomorrow, and hopefully that will be true, and then we'll have a late Christmas together. By the way, I've got some Why smoking? Oh, this is old Joe Krantz in a little. The furnace really does want to come on. It's humming. It just hasn't kicked in yet. Maxim Tillmans. Bonjour. I think you're saying hello, but I do not know enough French to get you there. But it's nice to see you, Maxim. Clicking now. Clicking is usually a. Hasn't been too cold today, actually. It's a beautiful day here. Alright, now we got the furnace on, and it looks like the furnace is taking over the audio, so you can probably hear that fully. Let me know if you can hear that. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm not getting any responses here. Okay, I dialed that up a little bit. Hey Mark, how you doing, buddy? Sound is constant, almost like a blower or fan, yeah. Yeah, I can see that problem. Very fan-like, audio still cutting in and out. Boy. Good Christmas, kids were happy, glad to hear that. Too much blue moon, well, that's not a bad problem to have, Gordy. Sushi for dinner, nice, Patrick. I made a standing rib roast just for me. Yeah, I know the furnace is much louder. It's not filtering it out at all. All right, we'll work on it. Okay, so that's cutting the furnace out, but it stays on. See what that does. Ah, so how is that? It looks like my audio is working. And it looks like the furnace is being cut out. Big lag between comments and me saying them. I don't control that, Chris. That's entirely YouTube's fault. Hey Cole, how's it going, buddy? Audio is out, so you can't hear me at all? Glad the image is good, Cole, but if you can't hear me. Oh, Lukester, I wish it was a new computer. It's one that I refurbished. Actually, I don't wish it was a new computer. I wish it was my old computer, which I broke, but long story. So are you getting any audio now? Somebody just give me a thumbs up if you hear me. Ah, gotcha, Chris. Good point. Good point. Sounds like the mic is voice activated in and out. Well, it is in a sense voice activated because the filters have to detect my voice in order to filter out the stuff that's not my voice. Getting audio 50% of the time. Okay. Well, we can't have that. All right, let's try something else then. This is odd. This is very strange. It didn't used to do this. Okay, is that... No, that's not going to help us. That is probably just going to be lowering my voice, so that's not helpful. Okay, so with... that's not right. Wait a minute. I do appreciate you guys helping with this. Okay, with this now, you probably are hearing the furnace constantly, and hopefully the audio is going to be constant, if not noisy. I already have one call. Yeah, the background noise is from the furnace, and I'm gonna have to figure that out. Furnace is off now, so just let me know if the voice is at least natural and it's not cutting in and out, you're getting continuous audio. If I at least know that much, then I got something to work with. And we might just have to live with the furnace until I get it figured out. Sound effects significantly quieter than voice. What sound effects? Okay, so at least we're getting some reasonable voice now. Okay, so I just got to figure out why I can't get rid of the furnace, which I used to be able to do just fine. Sorry about that, guys. I know it's annoying. I'm going to write down the settings that I have here. At least that'll be a starting point. Oh, by the way, I cleaned off my bench. Well, I got new work on it, but it's a lot cleaner than it was. So I accomplished one thing on my vacation. I was hitting the foghorn about 15 times? Seriously? I didn't know I was hitting the foghorn, that's the problem. Oh, this new OBS is full of surprises. Let's see, 60. Open is minus 47. Tech. Sorry guys, just gotta take a minute to write this down or else I'll never be able to replicate it. Okay, we'll stop playing with that. I'm actually really disturbed about the foghorn, Chris. I got to figure that out because I don't want that just randomly going off. But yeah, it's always surprises when you go through something like this, and it's a new version of Linux. It's something called Pop! OS, which is put out by System 76, and I really like the version of Linux, so I'm happy about that. The computer is actually my wife's old HP computer that she broke the screen on it, but I was able to fix that. Just needed a new cable actually, because when it fell it pulled the cable out. I had to do some plastic work inside to get the screws to hold it together again, but by and large it's fixed, and I upgraded the memory to the maximum and I put a much larger solid-state drive in it, so it's running really well. It's actually probably in terms of specs a little bit better than the computer that it's replacing. So that's all great, but this new version of OBS, which is the software I use to do the videos, they changed everything. They like moved around different things, and they seem to have changed the filters, and I mean, just, it's simple stuff. Like, there used to be this screen that had all of the audio inputs. So like, I'll have the microphone input, and then there might be a, like when I play the music during the intro, that's another audio input. The foghorn is an audio input, and they would all be listed along with the video input, which is just the camera in this case. But there might be pictures, or like when I do the credits, there's a credit slide, things like that. And they only had the audio in this panel, and it took me a good 15 or 20 minutes to figure out that they put a tab where now you have both scenes and sources instead of just scenes, and instead of audio video mixer, it's just audio mixer. So yeah, little things like that. It's fun how much time you got to spend figuring that kind of stuff out. That happens on cell phones too. You know, somebody said recently that that one of the things they liked about the Tesla was that the Tesla actually went through upgrades like the cell phones do. And I thought, well, yeah, I don't think I like that, because I sometimes open up my phone and I don't know how to check email anymore because they changed something overnight. Can you imagine going out to your car in the morning and finding out that, you know, it doesn't steer anymore? You have to, I don't know, steer with your knee or something. Obviously, it's not going to be changes like that, but it just struck me as funny that your car would go through upgrades. You like the foghorn with the waterfall background? That's a good one. By the way, the lag isn't that bad. I'm just catching up after my babble there. So I had a great day today. I went, drove about an hour from here and visited with Armchair Piper, Ed. And we had lunch and smoked quite a few pipes and chatted. It was a really good time. Now, I just took a drink and I'm watching, I'm just now on the live stream side of things, putting on my glasses to read the comment about the waterfall background. That's how big the lag is between what I'm recording, what I'm actually seeing happening on YouTube. I wonder if that's actually what you're seeing, or if that lag is internal here. Very confusing. Normally I don't have both of these screens open, so that might be confusing unnecessarily. I just now took the drink. That's amazing. Impromptu bowl call from Patrick Grant. Sounds good. He's got Low Country, Natural Virginia and Burley, and a Peterson 220 rusticated bent Rhodesian. Nice. Nice. I think I already said I've got some old Joe Krantz in my my little nose warmer. And we had some good tobacco today. We had oh gosh, I can't remember what it was called. It was another one of those PCCA blends that Ed had gotten. It was a straight Virginia. It was really nice. It reminded me of the Quantum that I had earlier this year. In some ways, it was a McClellan blend basically. And we had some plum cake mixture. We had some Our Best blend, and I had some Haunted Bookshop because, you know, I am who I am, as Popeye says. Okay, I'm missing the bowl call here. Let's see. VidMaze has got some Windjammer and Country Gentleman. Lag seems to improving now. That's good. Fire up an Oliva Connecticut Robusto. You know, Cole, I almost brought a cigar down with me for this, but I didn't think I was going to go very long. Paul the Piper. Hey, Paul, great to see you, buddy. It's your Christmas pipe, Patrick. Very nice. Pipe Time's got 3 Friars and a Parker Bulldog. Lukester's got Carter Hall and his Bing's Favorite. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff a burning. So I'm not going to keep this on too long. Probably we'll go to 9 o'clock. And for multiple reasons. One is I got to continue to troubleshoot this. And the other is this is completely random, and I don't want to keep you all away from your families and all the important things you're supposed to be doing, even though that's probably what you want me to do. I mean, I know if I was watching a live stream, that's what I'd want to happen. So. Dry Fly Fisher, how you doing, buddy? Good evening to you. Surprise, surprise. We're only doing this for a little while. By the way, did I tell you I'm drinking brown stuff? I'm pretty certain it's Seagram's. In my, you probably can't read that, Partagas whiskey glass. Partagas, 1845. Doug Owen, good evening and belated Merry Christmas to you, sir. Nothing more important than enjoying a pipe of, oh, Doug, you flatter me. You flatter me, buddy. It's good to see you. We're only going to be a few minutes longer, and then I'll let you all get back to your lives. I needed some audio support, and I got it. I just couldn't fix it, so. We will, tomorrow night, we will do the live stream. I'm going to schedule it right after this, but we might be interrupted by the furnace. I can't turn it off now because so I put in a network boost thing, which has helped a lot. I now have a direct wired connection, but it wires through an outlet. It's one of these things where you plug it into an outlet near the router, and then you plug it into an outlet somewhere else, and it magically makes a wired connection. And it works really, really well. And that's really improved things. But the only outlet that it works, and it has to be plugged into an outlet that's directly connected back to the circuit breaker box. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. And the only outlet down here that is accessible enough and that connects is part of the furnace circuit. So if I turn off the furnace, I turn off that outlet. So I can't have a network connection and the furnace off at the same time, which is very annoying, but such is life. It's some good brown stuff, Doug. Yeah, Dry Fly Fisher, I know what you mean. I've been confused about days myself. Paul, do you know the ins and outs of how to set noise filters on OBS? Because that's the problem. Okay, Cole, glad I could offer you a break. 8 hours of driving. Oh, man. I do not envy you. You know, Chris, I could do that, but my wife will be home tomorrow night, and I don't think she'd appreciate it. But if she doesn't come home, I will do that. That'll give me another week to sort it. So, thank you for the suggestion. If you didn't see, Chris suggested I set the furnace to 50 degrees so that it doesn't come on. That's not a bad idea. Could I just tell it to shut up? I've tried, Doug. I've tried. It's threatening to come on again. And if it does come on, guys, the noise filters are not working if you're tuning in late. So this is going to get loud. You know, feel free to run away if you want. I'll, you know, I might as well, unless anybody's, you know what, you guys don't have to stay. I'm going to finish this before I shut this down. So we'll hang out for a little bit longer. Otherwise, I'd be drinking. Uh-oh. Oh, that's not good. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I've apparently started an ashtray fire. I'm not emptying it enough. Oh, this is bad. Oh, Paul, that would be great. I mean, I don't have a specific question to ask. It's just that the filters I'm using are, let me pull this up. They're called noise gate filters, and there's 5 settings on them, and I used to have them set so that they would filter out the background noise of my furnace, but they no longer are doing that, and I don't know what the original settings were. So if you want to check in with him, if he happens to know OBS and knows what the noise gate settings should be to filter out background noise, or how to set that, that would be great. Oh, Doug, it's not going to sound like 20,000 Leagues tonight, believe me. It's going to be loud and roaring. Yeah, it's not the gains, Paul, because they've always been constant. Okay, the furnace is now going. Yeah, dry fly fisher, I've had a lot of those, and the best advice I can give you for that is to put the pipe in a plastic bag, put it in the freezer for about 15-20 minutes, and then take it out and immediately try to take the stem out. It's magical. It can release stems that I thought were glued in. Might not work. If it doesn't work, it's going to be hard to get out, but that's worked for me probably like 98% of the time. Ron Hardcrackers, hey, Paul Rapp, good to see you too. This is better? That's good to know. So do you guys think this is tolerable if this happened on Friday night? Oopster says it isn't that bad, okay. Ah, yeah, that would work with stuck fly rod sections too. Good point, dry fly fisher. Yeah, I didn't think your freezer was that big, although I guess it could be. No static like before, okay. I know it's loud, and I know it's not ideal, but thanks guys. I mean, we might just have to live with it this week. Still sounds better than CNN. Oh, that's funny. I'll tell you what, if my wife doesn't come home tomorrow, I'll take Chris's suggestion and set the furnace to 50. The dogs won't mind. I know the dogs won't mind because they've been spending an awful lot of time lying in the snow for some reason. They were out on days where it was like 10, 12 degrees. They would go out for like 45 minutes, and which is really odd because fall weather they would not stay out for more than 10 or 15. And I felt really bad. I made Isabel sick. Well, I didn't do it intentionally, obviously, but I bought these treats for them that are, you know, they sell these antler chews that are like deer antlers that they can chew on. But in the past, when I've gotten them anything like that, they tend to like break off shards of it and they get sick. So they had this version of it that is, they basically grind up the antler and then compress it so that they can chew it up. It's not quite as hard as an antler and doesn't get sharp shards. And it was Thanksgiving, and I was at the pet store and I saw them and they were on sale, buy one get one free, and they're pretty expensive. For my dogs go through chew treats in like 15 minutes, they're gone. So these treats that are selling for like, some of these are like $15, you know, I'm not going to buy those. But this one was like $9 and it was buy one get one free, so I thought, oh, let me try these. They're all natural and everything. I gave them to him on Thanksgiving, and they were fine, except Isabel, treats this big. Isabel had this much left, and Thatcher had this much left. So Isabel had eaten 3/4, and Thatcher had eaten 1/4. So I took them away from. I only give them 20 minutes with them. Otherwise, they'll swallow small pieces and stuff, and because they start to rush to beat the other one. So it was Christmas Eve, and I thought, well, I'll give them those treats again. But I swapped them. I gave Isabel the long piece and gave Thatcher the short piece, thinking that in 20 minutes they'll finish them. And in fact, that worked out beautifully. In 20 minutes, they were gone. When I got up that morning, Isabel had, she had puked. And she continued to puke all day and all night. And then she'd go out in the yard and she'd like root around to find grass under the snow and eat grass, and then she'd puke grass. And so she must have had a really irritated stomach. I'm sorry, you probably don't want to hear me talk about dogs puking, but I felt really bad for her. So I didn't feed them much yesterday just because I wanted her to have time to have her stomach settled. Yeah, I had pig's ears. My previous dogs had pig's ears all the time, Doug. But these two, they've been so babied by my wife that anytime I give them something that's remotely different, they get sick. So somebody recommended a space heater. I think it was Doug. That won't work because I'm not the one that's cold. It's my wife upstairs that's cold. So I can have a space heater next to me all I want. I'd have to put a space heater under the thermostat upstairs, and I think she'd notice that. And to be fair, she has always been very tolerable of me turning off the furnace during the live streams. Even in the middle of winter, she'd let me do that. Sometimes when it got really, really cold, I didn't, just because, I don't want her to hate me and then leave me and I wind up living in a box under a bridge somewhere, which is what would happen. But as I explained earlier, I put this new wired network thing in that requires the furnace plug. It's complicated, but I can't turn off the furnace or I lose the network. Or I lose the wired network connection. Oh, you know what? I just realized something. I know why there might be so much lag. Aha! I'm not going to fix this now, but it turns out I'm not on the wired connection. I'm on the Wi-Fi connection right now. That's what the problem is with the lag. Look at that. We're troubleshooting left and right here. So I hope you all had a good Christmas. We talked about Christmas dinner earlier, and I mentioned that I made a standing rib roast, which was really good. I followed Dogs puking is what Merry Christmas is all about. Yeah, Doug. Yeah, I made the standing rib roast, and I followed Alton Brown's recipe. He's got a short video on YouTube. It's really simple, and man, it was delicious. It really turned out well. And I got a lot of beef left, so when my wife comes home, we're gonna have another Christmas dinner. But I was tempted because the Chinese restaurant, it's like walking distance from my house, was having a holiday special where for $88, the name of the restaurant is Noodle 88. 88s are very lucky in Chinese, so Noodle 88 is doubly lucky, I suppose, and noodly as well. They had, yeah, snow will do that. So anyway, Noodle 88 had this special. You had to order it ahead of time, but you got a Peking duck and a bunch of side dishes. I don't know, and it was $80, which it's expensive for takeout. But you buy a turkey or a roast, it's $30-40. So you figure you get everything done for you. And I was going to recreate the Christmas Story, Christmas, by having Peking duck. And I seriously thought about this, and I asked my wife if it would be okay to invite some of the staff over to sing 'Tis the Season, and she said no. So that kind of killed that idea. It's true. I don't have anything else to add to it. Ron, that would be really mean if she were to do that, but it would also knock me out of the bed because I only get about 11 inches of bed to sleep in. It's something we joke about. She's one of these people where, you know, if the bed's running like this, she sleeps like this. And we used to have 2 dogs, a beagle and a lab mix, that unfortunately went upstairs and jumped into bed with us. And the lab had this wonderful, it was hilarious looking back on it, but at the time it was kind of annoying. He would lay on his side with his back up against my wife, and he would push his legs straight out, which of course pushed me. They were very protective of her. They didn't want me to, you know, be too close to her. And the beagle would just get between our feet usually. So over time, between her sleeping at an angle and this lab pushing me, I've gotten used to sleeping in, you know, like 11 inches of bed. So even when she's not here, we have a king-size bed, and I sleep on the edge of that. And she'll say to me sometimes, why don't you move over? I'm like, I'm comfortable here. This is my spot. So yeah, so in order to do that, Ron, she'd have to like move all the way across the bed. Bozahari. Yeah, Doug, I love that. I have a leg lamp mug, Lukester. Does that count, or do I have to get the full leg lamp? Duck prices are through the roof. Yeah. Although I was at Costco last weekend, and they had what seemed like a pretty good deal. It was I think it was like $4 something a pound, which sounds expensive, but I don't think, like, if you were to go to a supermarket and buy a duck, it would be a lot more expensive. I went to Wegmans a couple years ago and just looked at their goose and duck and things like that, and I almost fell down at the prices. I was amazed at how expensive that stuff has gotten. But everything's expensive these days. I made a duck for, I don't remember if it was New Year's, not New Year's, if it was Thanksgiving or Christmas several years ago. It was very good. I enjoyed making it and everything, but the truth is you don't really get a lot of meat on a duck. It's kind of like a chicken. And prices they're charging, I'd rather just buy a chicken, I guess. How are we doing on time here? I said I was going to end this at 9 o'clock and it's 9:10. A few more minutes. I'm saying that to myself, not to you guys. The problem is I'll sit here all night and chat. Because I have no real friends. So well, you guys are real friends, but you know what I mean. Christmas Story bachelor party. Oh, that Ralphie running his hand up the leg is really hilarious. You know, Paul, that would work. There's enough room on the other side that I could probably get a better night's sleep over there. But no, it's funny, even when I go to hotels, like when I'm at the Columbus Pipe Show, you know, I've got the full bed all to myself, there's nobody else in the room, I still sleep on the edge of the bed. I'm just used to it. Little Piper Todd, how you doing, buddy? Cole's only halfway through his cigar. My Zippo's running low on fuel, though. I'm gonna have to switch to. So the hippie lighter has been giving me problems lately. There we go. You don't know why it's a hippie lighter? Oh, I can tell you about my LED lights. This was a week full of technical challenges beyond the computer thing. So I've got these LED lights. They're from a company named Barina. They're really nice lights. They're natural light, I think 45K. They're very bright. They're cheap. I got them on Amazon. I think it was like $60 for 12 of them. Something like, I don't remember how much I paid for them. And they're really easy to install, and they are very low current. So, you know, I can basically put lights all over the basement, and it'll cost about the same as running one incandescent bulb. So that's great. They're easy. You just attach clips to the rafters, and they clip in, and then you just string them together with plugs and then plug in the end, and it's great. So I've got 2 strips on right now, and it's really nice and bright here. I've got a 3rd strip mounted that I've never plugged in, and I've got 3 more strips for the other half of the shop once I get that organized. So I came down the other day, and one of the lights on the far end down there was out, and I thought, well, that's not good. So I went up and I played around with the plugs and stuff, and sure enough, it had died. So I started researching this, you know, how to fix it and stuff. And I thought I had fixed it, and I went and plugged it back in, and I noticed that the second light that was always working now wasn't working, but the rest of them were. So now I had 2 that had gone bad. And I thought, well, this is really weird. So I kept trying to fix the first one, and in the process I wound up really screwing it up. And as I'm doing this, the 2 lights right above here, right before I put up that backdrop for Christmas, 2 of those went out. Like, holy cow, this is a nightmare. These things are starting to die on me, and they're all going out at the same time. So I spent a lot of time online trying to figure out how to, you know, can I fix these? And the reason I wanted to fix them was I didn't want to just, I thought I was going to lose a lot of them at this point, and I thought, you know, if I don't have to rebuy them, if I just have to replace one LED chip, because these things have, I think there's 96 LED chips on each strip. So if I just have to replace one chip or something, that's a lot better than having to replace the whole thing if I'm going to have to do it across the whole basement. So I kept playing with it, and I came up with the idea of actually, instead of trying to jump the bad LEDs and stuff, I came up with the idea of actually taking the LED chips off that first one that I messed up and replacing the bad LEDs on the second one. So I had to learn how to do surface mount soldering, which I had never done before. This was interesting. It took me days. It's the kind of thing I get into. I shouldn't, because it wastes my time. I could have just spent, you know, $60 and never had to worry about this again. But anyway, I did it. I actually was able to move the surface mount LEDs off the bad one and replace the ones that had gone bad on the second bad one, and I got that working again, and I was really happy. So I put that back up. I got one of the new ones that I hadn't installed yet to replace the one that I had ruined. And then I thought, okay, let me tackle these 2. And it turns out that the plug had just worked loose on these 2. There was nothing else wrong. I probably knocked it when I was hanging up the Halloween backdrop and loosened it, and yeah, the plug had just wriggled loose. So that was an easy fix. But I'm kind of glad, because if that hadn't happened, I probably would have just ditched that second one. But now I know how to fix them. Not that it's a good thing to do. It's very finicky, and it's a big waste of time. Christmas was good, Todd. It was very good. Santa didn't visit yet because my wife's in Pittsburgh, but I know some of the things that Santa's bringing me because I bought them. And I handed my wife the boxes and said, here, you can wrap this. And one thing I'm pretty excited about is I bought the new Dutch tool chest book from Lost Art Press, because that's one of the things I think I'm going to do as part of the shop organization, is I'm going to build a Dutch tool chest. If you don't know what they are, look them up. If you're into woodworking or anything like that, they're really very efficient ways to store your tools. Minimal space, but still have good access to them. Furnace is going to come on in a minute. Chris, they're called Barrina, B-A-R-R-I-N-A, and they're LED lights. I really like them. They're very, very bright, really easy to put up. You just have to plug them in. You don't have to do any wiring. So yeah, if you go on Amazon and search for Barrina, B-A-R-R-I-N-A. Good point, Paul. I guess it isn't a waste of time when you think of it that way. I did learn a new skill. It's just the question of whether or not it was a skill that I needed to learn. But it'll come in handy someday, I'm sure. We're getting close to the end. Hey Cole, I'll bring my soldering iron. You can see it right here. It's still out. You just have to supply bourbon and cigars, and I work for bourbon and cigars. For when it comes to electronics. There's your furnace. I think I'm being told that it's time to bring this to a close because nothing's working. This is one of these lighters. My dad bought this for me, and I thought when I opened it, well, he handed it to me, I didn't open it. And I thought, what am I ever going to do with this? Because this is a cigarette lighter. And it turns out I used it all the time when I was doing retorts, because this is fantastic at lighting an alcohol lamp. But the other thing it works really well with is when these things start to get bulky, you can just let the butane out and light it. Isn't that nice? There you go, Doug. I'm glad I could be an inspiration to someone. And yes, occasional. I do like Lost Art Press. I mean, honestly, I'm a little... Do I want to get into this? I have a great deal of respect for Christopher Schwartz. I mean, he's done some really good things for woodworking, and he sort of forged his own path, and I appreciate that. But he put out a blog post years ago. There was something about woodworking for fancy boys or something like that. And he was basically making fun of these people that, you know, have to have the exact water stones that you see somebody using on YouTube in order to sharpen your tools, or else your tools will not be sharp. You know, for most of history, we've been sharpening stones on whatever rock we can find. With sharpening tools on whatever rock we can find, and it's worked just fine. And now all of a sudden, if you don't buy this exact brand, that, by the way, I get a kickback on if you buy it, you know. So he made this post that was basically criticizing that. But now I look at his site, and you know, he's selling like these, you know, aprons that are handmade by Tibetan monks out of the skins of rare goats or whatever, and they're $600. and I get it, he needs to make a living too, but it seems like he's kind of become the thing that he complained about being, so that disappoints me a little. But in terms of woodworking knowledge and passing that on and keeping some of the older woodworking texts alive, he's republished some things that were close to being lost. He's responsible for a translation of the Rubio text, which forever have only been available in French, so you can now get those in English. So he's done a lot of good things, and I like Lost Art Press. I own a lot of Lost Art Press books. I'm going to take one more swig. My pipe is out, and we're going to call this to a close. But I appreciate you guys showing up tonight and helping me out with the audio. We will definitely have a live stream tomorrow night. You might hear this during the live stream. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix anything between now and then, but I'm going to keep the settings that I have unless I discover something dramatically interesting about how these settings work, or I can add a different filter. But we'll keep these, and maybe I'll have to deal with the sound of the furnace. But with that, guys, thank you very much for joining me tonight. I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas and enjoy your Thursday, and I will see you tomorrow night. So take care, everybody.